Welcome back to the studio. Now we have some yoga with Miss Lerner.
Hi, how are you? Happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me back, and welcome to Yoga with Mrs. Lerner. Today we're going to try something a little different. It's called Yin Yoga, and I thought it would be more appropriate. It's restorative yoga with just a little edge. So like any yoga practice, if it hurts or if there's pain, please back off, because yoga should not be a painful, nor is it a competitive sport. So we hope that you will enjoy it with us, and thank you very much. So we're going to start on our mats.
Great, let's get started.
And we're going to start in child's pose. So if you're just joining us and you've never practiced before, what you want to do is you want to bring your legs underneath you, and you want to sit on your legs and your toes are flat out. And now what you want to do is you just want to open up your knees so they're almost the width of the mat, and we're just going to come down and we're going to place our forehead on the mat. The interesting thing about yin yoga is that yin yoga basically holds the pose for about a minute. So you can really kind of get very nicely and deeper into the pose. So we'll hold this pose for about a minute. And we're doing our first pose, our warm-up, which is child's pose. Okay, so feel your body just giving way, and feel that your weight is just being basically dispersed into your feet. Okay, so come on up. All right. And the second pose that we're going to do, also, there's going to be a lot of seated poses, which I think is very appropriate for this morning. It's really cold out there. And we do want to build a little heat, but we also want to basically, because it's so early in the morning, we want to make sure that we're being very respectful to our bodies. So we're just going to come into a squat. So in order to go into the squat, what I want you to do is I want you to bring your feet together, okay? And if you're joining us at home and you have props and you can't squat, feel free to put a prop or a block or some books underneath your feet, and we can bring our hands together and we can stay here for about a minute and just squat. Okay, the next pose we're going to come into. So what I want you to do is I want you to come up to your knees, and I want you to turn your toes under, right? And this is it's a toe pose, and a lot of us, we may be on our feet all the time, and we really don't stretch the toes. So this is a nice stretch on those toes. So we're going to come back, and we're going to sit on our toes. I have to warn you, this one may stress your toes out a little, okay? Right? Okay. So if this toe pose is too much for you, then what you can do is you can prop yourself up and hold on. Otherwise, we're in the full toe pose for about 30 seconds to a minute. Feel those toes getting stretched. You should push yourself only to your comfort level, okay? So when it starts being painful, that's too much, and that's to back off a little. Okay, so let's put our hands back down, and we're going to push ourselves now into downward facing dog. So our toes are already curled over, and we're going to push back into a downward facing dog pose. Now, as you go deeper into the pose, one might try to place their feet all the way on the mat. But if you're not there this morning, then that's fine. You can keep your dog up, or you can try to push your dog down. And let's just paddle our dog out a little so we can just stretch out our legs. because we're going to be doing some leg poses next. And breathe into the dog. So breathe in and sigh it out. Breathe in and give us a big sigh out. We're really tired. And one more deep breath in and one more sigh out. All right, now we're going to bring our right foot forward to meet our hands. So if you need a little help, just bring that right foot forward. Okay? We're going to drop our left knee down, and we're going to stay in this lunge pose. Okay? So as you push yourself a little forward, you should not have direct access on your knee, because that might be a little too stressful. What we're really doing is we're stretching, right? We're stretching in here. So you can stay down here, or you can come up. Yep. This may be a little balancing trick too. And feel the stretch. Okay, come back down. Bring your left foot up, toes are under, and bring your right foot back to meet your left, and we're back in downward facing dog. Let's take 3 deep breaths here and sigh it out. And breathe in and sigh it out. And breathe in and sigh it out. Now let's bring our left foot forward. Same thing, runner's lunge. Stay here. Now drop that knee, that right knee down, toes flatten out. Stay here in runner's lunge, or come up for the full modification in the pose. Hands come back down. Right toes turn under. Bring that right foot up. And left foot comes back to meet the right. Back in downward facing dog. This time, I want you to bring your right foot all the way up. This is what we call three-legged dog. This is just transitioning. And we're going to bring our right leg forward, and we're on our knee, and we're going to call this Pigeon Pose. Stay here, or see if you can go a little deeper into your Pigeon Pose. This is a really nice stretch in the morning, stretching out those glutes. Come back up. Bring your left foot around to meet the right foot. And we're going to come into something called bound angle pose. So now our legs, kind of like a butterfly, and wherever you can go, you can hold your feet together, okay? And we're going to just give ourselves a nice little stretch forward, right to your edge. The goal in bound angle pose after a while is to see if you can get your legs to come down, but if you're not there yet, then stretch just to where you are and stretch forward. Nice inner thigh stretch here. right, bring your knees up. Come around. Back to hands and knees. Let's push back to downward facing dog. Now let's bring our left foot up for three-legged dog. And coming in to pigeon on the left side. Okay, if you want, you can hold your pigeon up, or you can come down to the full extension of the pose. And we're going to stretch our pigeon on our left side. Nice stretch for our left glutes. Coming back up, bringing our right leg around. And this time, we're going to keep our legs straight out forward. And we're going to do a seated pose, okay? So keeping your legs straight, all right? Sitting tall, okay? This is our forward seated pose. And we're going to bend and touch wherever you can. If you touch your knees, if you can touch your ankles, if you can touch your toes, and our first seated forward bend. Okay, coming up. Okay, so we're going to straddle now. Your legs should be a little further out past the mat. Okay, and going to walk our hands forward. And we're going to give ourselves a nice stretch on those inner thighs. Now we'll hold the pose here. And once we're holding the pose, see if you can just push it yourself just a little deeper. Just a little deeper. Give yourselves a really nice stretch this morning. Okay, walk your hands back. Bring your legs in. Let's shake out those legs. Okay, so we're going to do our first twist pose of the morning. Several ways to do a seated twist. Let's start with our feet together. Let's bring the right foot over the left foot and hold the right foot with the left arm. And the hand is going to come around. And as your hand is coming around, our neck and our head are going to turn very gently to face the back of the room. All right, as the head turns back, the arm comes back, and the legs come straight again. Let's bring the left leg over the right leg, and we're going to hold it in our elbow, And our left hand comes around. And as our left hand comes around, we look towards the left. Right arm comes back, meet the left arm. Let's windshield wiper those legs. Let's stretch them out. And let's go to the right side. And as we go to the right side, let's look over to the left. And let's come forward, and we'll windshield wiper a little bit more. And now our legs are going to drop at the right side, and we're just going to stretch over to the left. Okay, so now let's bring our knees up. And very carefully, we're going to roll our bodies all the way down on the ground. And our legs are going to go flat. And we're going to basically bring our legs in. And we're going to hold our legs with our, not on our knees, but below our knees. And we're just going to rock a little. Okay, bring our legs down. We're going to bring our first leg in and hold it below the knee. And let's give ourselves a really nice stretch. Right leg comes down, left leg comes in, and let's stretch. Okay, left leg comes down. Now the next pose is called Happy Baby, and we're all really happy that you're joining us at the telethon. So our legs come in, we grab the outside, the inside of our legs with our hands, and this is our Happy Baby. And we can rock our Happy Baby. You can keep your Happy Baby straight. Okay, let's give our knees a really good stretch in again. And our feet come down straight. So now what I want to do is our arms are going to come out like a T. We're going to bring our knees, our feet up, so our knees are facing up. Knees are up. And we're going to roll to the right side while we try to look left. This is a very similar pose to what we did seated, right? This is our lying twist. Knees come back up. And now we're going to go over to the left side. Knees come over to the left side. And we twist on the other side. Head should go right over to the right side now, if possible. If this is too much of a stretch or a strain on your neck, then keep your head facing forward. Okay, knees come back up. Now we're going to place our legs straight, and this is the best pose of any yoga practice, where our legs are slightly apart, our hands come down, and they face up. And we're going to come into what we call Shavasana. So everybody feel very relaxed. Close your eyes. Just breathe in. Breathe out. Shavasana, or corpse pose, is the time to let your body relax after all of that hard work that you just did. Now start to bring a little movement into your fingers and your toes. Wiggle those fingers, wiggle those toes. Take some deep breaths. And roll over to your right side for a moment. Placing your hands underneath your head if you want to use those as a little pillow. Now push yourself up so that you're facing me, sitting cross-legged, very relaxing. Place our hands to our heart center. Okay, so let's give thanks and praise for the yoga practice, for this wonderful telethon, for the wonderful students that are basically raising money for this wonderful telethon, and we say to each other, Namaste. I honor the divine spirit in you. Namaste. So we thank you so much for practicing with us this morning. Don't forget, phones open at 8 a.m. If you've enjoyed this segment or any of the other things you've seen on the telethon, please give and give generously, because 'tis the season. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.